I have fed dolphin pants.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
and dolphin.
Wait, you fed a dolphin pants? Tornwe, I feel like is one. It's fine. You can start the podcast.
We start the podcast.
You can start it when you want.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Edo Comic Cast for Edo Comic Cast for 2022, the month of May. Oh,
Yes.
That was so smooth.
That was good.
so smooth.
It's
Great.
Tornwe.
Tornwe. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Onwe.
You guys don't get any context for that because we're talking about Thor.
Yes.
2014, number one to Thor.
Yes.
There he is.
Nailed it.
He nailed it.
Yeah, definitely the first time I've tried that. All of this happening for the first time.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so obviously we got Thor: Love and Thunder coming up in a couple months. Couple months at this point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Early July.
1.5.
Yeah.
1.5.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trailer in a matter of 24 hours for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got my wires crossed a little bit in terms of scheduling.
Yeah.
Just a teensy bit. And
amount.
I think Will said it as well. For some reason I was certain Thor was coming out in June.
Yeah.
I don't know what part of me because it was always coming out in July.
Yep.
But I was certain it was coming out in June.
Yep.
So hence why I scheduled our May comic cast to be.
But to be fair, nothing happening this month.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're not wrong.
It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. So it just means we're now going to do two Thor comics.
Yes.
We'll get to that in another comic cast
Yeah,
time.
we will.
Have-
Yes.
Which
you
we're-
have so much context.
Yeah.
So much.
Which we're definitely also not recording.
No,
at
the
any
other
time
podcast
soon.
is very
yeah,
like in a month's time.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the wires crossed, but it's fine because we were like, let's do the Lady Thor comic.
Yes.
The Mighty Thor, she
Mighty
becomes called
Thor,
later.
yeah. Yes.
Obviously, spoilers, it's Jane Foster.
It is.
Part of the comic that we read for this month's comic cast is a mystery about who it is. But
yeah.
we all very much know it's Jane Foster now. And
Yeah.
obviously leading up to the movie, it's Natalie Portman. Like, sorry if that's a spoiler, but it's out there.
It is.
It's out
It is
there.
interesting that they didn't try to hide it for the movie audience. That they weren't like, let's play with them the same way the comics did.
Well,
but
I think technically in the trailer it is a little bit
True.
hidden. It's more just like they've announced.
yeah, we know she's in it,
Yeah.
and it's not hard to connect the
And
dots.
she was, when she was initially announced, she was literally holding
She was.
the thing, so everyone was
for
like,
the
there
for
it
the
is.
general audience. It's
Yeah.
similar to like Hulk and Ragnarok. It's like, oh, it's weird that you let the general audience
true.
know about this thing. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
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 But anyway, so she's going to show up in Thor: Love and Thunder. So
Yeah.
let's go back to the first time she showed up in the comics.
Yeah.
It's not that long ago. It's
No.
only like 8 years ago.
It's what all the Marvel universe or the MCU is pulling upon. Is that
Yeah.
the Marvel now, all the number ones.
Yeah.
We're finally at that.
It's almost like
great.
Yeah.
it's almost like it's because it's what made the Marvel universe make a lot more sense.
And a lot more inclusivity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, everything before this was kind of a lot of white people.
Yeah.
Just kind of white people everywhere.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
Yeah.
But
White
we're
men.
getting- Yes.
White men.
But yeah, we're getting so many like new characters come in. Like we've got Miss Marvel
Yep.
next month.
Yep.
We have others. America Chavez.
Yeah, America Chavez.
is relatively new in the Marvel
I think
universe.
she was
as
around
well, I
that
think.
time
Yeah.
as well. Probably. Yeah. Quite a few. A lot of the young Avengers were kind of.
Sam Wilson, even though he's
Sam
been
Wilson.
around in the comics for longer, like actually being
Falcap.
like Falcon, Captain America.
Kate Bishop being
Bishop.
what she is.
Yeah.
Kind of the Matt Fraction era.
Totally. I think sorry, I'm still floored by you saying we've got Kamala Khan and others.
It's probably more.
Yeah, there's probably a few more.
Yeah. Because I know what your brain did. You went to say She-Hulk, but She-Hulk's been around forever.
No,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
It's like it feels like she's new,
Yeah.
but she's not.
Ironheart.
That's a
she's
good one.
within there as well.
That's
That
where
was-
my
yeah,
brain,
there's a whole bunch.
my brain went to She-Hulk as well, and so I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
And I think Miles is only a matter of
Yeah.
time away,
Oh, totally.
and just once they work out the Sony
Yeah.
weird shit.
Yeah.
The fact that we're getting movies of him as well and
Yeah.
games and stuff, like they're
Yeah.
just all the new stuff is
Embracing the goods.
really, really popping in
Totally.
now, which is awesome.
Yeah. So to jump into this Thor comic,
Yeah.
just a bit of like context off the top. It's kind of a continuation of an existing Thor run from like, I guess actually no, the Thor comics have a pretty like constant continuity.
Yeah.
like throughout time.
Yeah,
they
totally.
actually
He's
are
the one character that doesn't die and then suddenly come back. It's always a reason he's missing.
They're actually it's one of the characters that tends to actually just continue on in his story a lot. But the writer for this comic, Jason Aaron, who we'll talk about in a bit, basically did like kind of a reboot of the character a little bit in 2012. And so this, in a way, it's like the start of Jane Thor's story, but it's also a continuation of
the arc that he was on,
Jason Aaron's arc. There's characters very much from that, which we'll talk about. And so it's kind of like this weird, like, it's a new thing, but it's also very much pulling on the existing lore at the time around Thor and stuff.
Still it exists well as its own thing, which is cool. Like
totally.
It is a good teaser to everything that's come before, but it's not like overshadowing what it's trying to do, which is cool.
Yeah. There's enough context in there for you to be able to just jump in and read it.
Just enjoy it.
Yeah. And so we read the first 4 issues. It's an 8-issue run. First Thor issues.
Thank you.
There's 8 issues total, and then it jumps into the Mighty Thor, which is also done by Jason Aaron and Russell Dorderman, which goes deeper, because this is obviously a mystery about Jane. Mighty Thor goes deeper into Jane as a character. I only read the first few issues of that, but I definitely want to get back to it.
Yeah, cool.
Because that's where a lot of the interesting lore around the character comes out. Which, if you don't, I don't want to go too much into that, because if you don't know that stuff's very cool, and you might want to read it yourself. But anyway, let's talk a bit about Jason Aaron,
please.
Comic Curiosities returns. So does Joshy's Context Corner.
Yes.
Because he's given us quite a lot of context.
Yes.
He also gave us some audio recordings. I'm not going to play all of them. Obviously, Josh in the last comic cast asked if Joshy could provide some of his own voice for it.
So we've got some continuity happening right here.
It's very good. So basically, what Joshy's given us is that I'm just going to like summarize his overall stuff, and then he's got some fun facts that we'll play for you guys. We'll play here, and then I'll cut it and,
do some edits.
Do the edit stuff. So basically Jason Aaron started writing comics in 2001. He apparently, by dropping a 1-page synopsis for a Wolverine story into a talent search competition.
Cool.
Talent search competition box at a comic book convention. So
sick.
That's very cool.
Far out.
And that culminated in an 8-page story published in Wolverine number 175 in 2002.
That's wicked.
Which is like the start of his career. I think that's like a very cool story.
Totally.
I wonder if that's on Marvel Unlimited too.
Yeah, probably would.
I'm going to have a look while we're going.
It also is a weird thing with Marvel. That feels like that could still happen. The way they acquire talent is still so nice and simple.
Yeah, well, even doing research for like this comic cast and the next one that we're definitely not recording anytime soon. There's a lot of like newer talent that just kind of came from very random locations. So
cool.
But Jason continued to work on like a bunch of Wolverine stuff, X-Men titles throughout like the 2000s into the early 2010s. And then obviously started his Thor run. Worked on that for 7 years between 2012 and 2019. There was like a new reboot with Fortnite in 2020. But the 2020 comic, I've said it so many times, probably on this podcast as well. Very good comic. Not written by Jason Aaron, but I think it's Donny Cates. I think it's Donny Cates. Also very good.
That guy's metal. He's fun.
But Jason's also done some work on Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider, Punisher, and is the current writer of the Avengers book.
Wow.
Which is it's been ongoing for quite a while, since 2018.
Sick.
Yeah. So he's really like integrated into the Marvel.
He's doing all of the things.
Continuity now. And then Joshy says for a little interesting thing for the Eto Toes. For 37 issues, he wrote the main Star Wars comic in 2015, which is the one starring the original characters and stuff.
Holy shit.
Around when Marvel regained the comic license for it all.
The New Hope Empire Bridge kind of thing. Yeah, sick.
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
And Joshy has also given us a fun little fact about Jason Aaron.
Fun trivia. When originally deciding which character to have pick up the hammer when Thor found himself unworthy, Jason Aaron originally toyed with the idea of Freya, Thor's mother, being the holder of Mjolnir in early brainstorms before settling on Jane Foster. His plans for Jane coincided with a big rebrand for Thor, and the choice of the new Thor seemed obvious.
Wow. I definitely was intrigued in the first couple of comics. It really feels like they're going there.
They hinted
Totally.
at it
Yeah.
like pretty strongly.
Yeah.
It's
For
like
sure.
Totally.
the thing that I think is really cool when you read these comics, especially on like Marvel Unlimited, and they had the little messages bit at the end, the letters to the team.
Yep.
And everyone, obviously at the time, because it wasn't revealed that it was Jane, was very curious about
Who it could be.
who this female Thor was. And like there was like, is it Freya? Is it Sif? Is it all that kind of thing? So it's interesting that Joshy's found out that it actually was,
It was considered.
Freya initially.
That's wild. Yeah.
Very cool.
Did you find anything?
Found it.
You found it.
Yeah. It seems to have like 3 different stories in this comic.
Yeah, cool.
Because there's the first one, and then I found
Just different art style.
this
and
like
stuff.
other page,
Yeah.
which is called The Vow.
Yep.
And I was looking through, and it doesn't have Jason Aaron's name.
Yep.
I flicked through a couple of extra pages.
There's a new
And
comic.
there it is. A Good Man.
A good man.
Jason Aaron, Udon Studios art and comic craft lettering.
Amazing.
A good man.
A good man.
good
Good
man.
man.
There you go. It's on Marvel Unlimited.
So Russell Dauterman
Yeah.
is the artist for this. Dauterman.
Whatever Joshy said. What did Joshy say?
Thorterman.
Thorterman.
Dauterman.
But he's the artist. He doesn't have to think. He's just drawing. He's drawing.
There's too many puns going on
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
There's like too many
too
crossing
much.
over puns. Anyway, Joshy said Dauterman. I think Dauterman. We're not going to debate it here, but I'm going to say Dauterman for the rest of this. Anyway, he's mainly just worked since like the 2010s within comic stuff. Interestingly, before he worked in comics, he did early sketches as a costume illustrator for the first Captain America movie.
Yeah, right.
Which is kind of wild.
Yes, sick.
Oh.
He has admitted though in interviews that he never thinks any of his designs got as far as the screen. But he contributed
Yes.
Okay.
to the
He got
iteration.
paid.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Apparently he
They
also
took the shoulders.
yeah, totally.
The shoulders.
Apparently he also worked as a costume illustrator on The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo movie, which I haven't seen, but
There you go.
probably has good costumes.
Yeah,
I've
What
heard
I
good-
remember
yeah.
seeing of like pictures and trailers and stuff. Cool costumes.
It's got
Yeah.
style.
Very, yeah.
Yeah. The 1992 X-Men animated series kind of inspired him to read comics and get into illustration.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
Pretty cool because it's a pretty iconic art style and everything
Really?
from that.
Yeah.
So starting in 2012, he did some pencils and inking for Boom Studios, and then did a little bit of Nightwing. And his first gig for Marvel was a few issues of a Cyclops series
Yeah, right.
around 2014. And then this was kind of like his first major gig, doing the Thor, the 2013 run, and then doing Mighty Thor. Too much. Then doing Mighty Thor in 2015.
Yeah.
And since then, he is like skyrocketed in Marvel's
cool. Awesome.
hierarchy. Since then, he's done obviously all that stuff with Jason Aaron up until like 2018, 2019. Jumped onto the reboot of the Marauders, like the X-Men group, in 2019 when the X-Men kind of rebooted their whole continuity and stuff again. Did a bunch of covers which I own in my comic collection where he did an extended like 12 comic Hellfire Gala
Nice.
thing
Searching
and
for those things.
did all the designs
Yeah,
of those
cool.
costumes. And
God.
there's like there's the regular variants, which are all the connecting ones.
Yeah.
Took me a while, multiple different shops to get all of them, but it looks very cool. I still need to frame it. But then the like
frame.
yeah,
frame.
the like 1 in 25 variants,
Yeah.
the slightly rarer ones, are like his actual like design. You know how they do like those
Like sketchy kind of
sketch
cover.
design
Cool.
cover things. So you can, those are out there too.
Sick.
Anyway, Hellfire Gala costume designs are like sick.
And it's back again
It's
this
back
year.
again.
And it's just as good.
Yeah, I think he's doing more cover art for it. I'm not sure if he's done as many of the designs as
Yeah,
last
okay.
year, but
yeah.
So he's working on a bunch of X books now. He did Marauders. I think he might have even done the art inside for some of the Hellfire Gala stuff as well,
Yep.
interiors. I'm not sure of that. And then he's also working on X-Men Red, which is a new series that is
cool.
just coming in like the X-Men stuff. So he had a slow start,
Yep.
but he's like
blossomed.
he's blossomed and he's doing a lot now. And I probably was one of my, I wouldn't say, maybe, no, he's a good artist. I was going to say he's probably one of my favorite artists. Not necessarily that, but like he is got one of the most unique art styles that I can look at that and be like, that's a Russell Dorman piece, and it's always
For
like
sure,
clean and good. He also does I don't know if any of you guys have seen this, but the variant covers for characters that Marvel have been doing lately,
Yes,
where it's
I've bought a
all
couple of
over all
those.
the eras. He does basically most of them. I think
Those things are crazy prices.
Yeah.
Those things are going mad. So wow.
Cool.
So he like basically redraws all the different eras of their costumes, puts them all on a cover. So like crazy talented guy, does a lot of work.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of cool. This was his start.
It's cool that his thing is like costume design too. That's
totally.
super interesting.
Yeah.
And is through everything. Like he's literally just drawing costumes on the front of a comic now.
It makes so much sense. And it makes sense why the female Thor design is so good and kind of iconic
They
at
did
this point.
nothing to put it in the movie. They were like, that's it.
that
we're
is
not
the
changing
costume.
that.
Even like the helmet, which you'd think would be impractical. They're like, no, it's in there.
Figured it out.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's like our overview of Russell Dorman. Good guy. Joshy has a little fun fact for us as well.
Fun trivia. On IMDb, Douterman has a special thanks credit on 25 episodes of the 2012 animated series Avengers Assemble, alongside Jason Aaron and the likes of Brian Michael Bendis and Jonathan Hickman. Whilst unknown exactly why, it is possibly due to work on this Thor run, serving as one possible source of inspiration for the cartoon.
Go.
Cool.
Wow.
So there you go.
I love the way he's talking.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
It's so fun.
There's so much drama to it. There's a little bit. I was saying to Will and Josh, there's a little bit of wrestling announcer to it.
Yeah. Bit of like 1950s announcer, like radio host as well.
Yeah, totally.
So fun.
Love it. We might get more of them in the future. We'll have to work out, because you sent me a lot of recordings and I'm grateful, but I also didn't want us to be sitting here listening to recordings the whole podcast. So we might work out a way to like weave them in a little bit better in the future. But
thank you.
Love it.
But
good fun.
Yeah. And all this information also coming from Joshy, by the way. I'm just like paraphrasing.
He writes half of this podcast.
No, totally. It's funny because again, we're totally not recording a comic cast after this, but if we were,
definitely.
that one has been done entirely by us because we couldn't get viewer comments.
So you decide which one you prefer.
So it's going
to go for 15 minutes.
it's going to be two like alternatives of what the comic cast can be. We have one more creator to get through before we jump into the issues. Matthew Wilson, the colorist, who has been on an Edo comic cast before. Can you guys remember which one? This is a test. We've done quite a lot of comics at this point. It's a pretty generic name as well.
How long ago? Like last year, this year?
Second half of last year. Marvel comic.
Okay.
Like a Black Widow?
Bang on.
Yes.
Bang on. Yep. He did the colors for the Black Widow run.
Okay. Cool.
Harvey Award winning, Eisner nominated. Big
Love an Eisner.
Love an Eisner, love a Harvey.
Yeah.
He's done Secret Avengers, Young Avengers. I've probably run through this last time. So, the Daredevil run with Mark Waid, who we also work with on the Black Widow comic we did.
Yeah, cool.
And he also did some coloring on some of like Image Comics' most successful books. Wicked and the Divine, which I have a big hardcover of on my shelf, which Joshy also points out here because it's on my shelf. Robert Kirkman's Firepower, that's Robert Kirkman's new thing.
Yep.
Yep. And also another one sitting on my shelf, and apparently Dolphin Pants' digital shelf too. Paper Girls.
Yeah, cool.
Cool.
They're also making a TV show out of.
So yeah.
That was definitely a thing at one point. I don't know if it's still a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Matthew Wilson. He'll probably pop up a bit more because he does quite a few popular things. So
Yeah, cool.
that's the comic curiosity / That's a slash.
It's a slash. Yeah.
Joshy's context corner. For audio listeners, I'm doing a slash.
Arm slash.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway.
It's a horror
It's
film
okay, Ben.
up in this
You're
thing.
with friends now.
Yeah. Just you're cool.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Anyway, let's jump into the comic.
Yeah.
Please, let's.
Please.
Yep.
Issue 1. Josh, would you like to tell us what happens in issue 1 of this
Would
comic?
I ever?
I have one sentence there if you want to read it.
I can read it.
Yeah.
I can read it. Under the sea, Thor loses his arm. A mysterious woman picks up the hammer and Odin sucks butts.
It's good.
Yeah.
He's good, isn't he?
Nice summary.
Tried.
Yeah.
You really committed to the song.
I did.
Which is
Yeah.
impressive.
I was like, how long am I going to do this?
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Kept going.
That's my
That's pretty
summary
much
of
it.
issue
Yeah.
one.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep.
It seems like Odin's been away for a little while. He's come back as Odin does, and he's like,
Yeah.
"It's my town now, bitch."
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
you suck, man.
Kind of
Get away.
freaking intense to
Yeah.
his wife.
Yeah, I think so. This is where my
rude.
slight previous knowledge of the 2012 Aaron stuff comes in. I think he was banished, maybe even like before that run. I think towards the end of the previous Thor run, he was like banished from Asgard or like went somewhere else or just like pissed off. And so Freya and I think like a collective of Freya and a couple of other women became like the All Mother.
Cool.
And so he went and pissed off. I think Thor went and visited him at some point, and then he came back now.
Yeah, cool.
And was just like, I'm back. Thor's lost his hammer. He sucks. I also suck.
Yeah. We're both not worthy. We're both
Yeah.
terrible.
And he's like, oh, it's my enchantment. I'll be able to pick it up. And he just can't. And it's very funny.
Totally. It's interesting reading these, especially of the time it was like the Thor Dark World and stuff. It's very much written like those characters. It feels like Freya from the film, and it feels like Anthony Hopkins' Odin. Like he's a big buff dude.
Except one character in this entire run.
Yep.
Malekith.
Yeah.
Like a good character.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And this would have came out pretty close to it. So it really would have put a bit of dour note on.
This Malekith feels like Tom Hiddleston.
Totally.
Like
Totally.
I almost read it as a Loki.
Yeah.
He's very like slimy and like very thin, slender, sort of like
Totally.
just pops up a lot, always
For
in the
sure.
shadows and
So again, this being a continuation of that, the previous Jason Aaron comics, he is in one of the later arcs of like that 2012 run, and they have the, what's it called? It's like the Thor makes a team with one person from each of all the nine realms. I can't remember what it's called. It's mentioned somewhere here. Hang on, Joshy mentioned it in one of his facts.
Yep.
Somewhere here. I want to find it because now it's stuck in my head. League of Realms.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and there's a really cool like arc of him going around with the League of Realms trying to catch up. Thank you, Jeff. To Malekith.
Cool.
Because Malekith's causing a lot of havoc.
Yep.
Definitely is more like a Loki-like character in this, but it also like, tell you what, every time I read it, I'm like,
What did they do?
what did they do to
What
this
went wrong?
character?
sad.
Well, it's also an interesting one, like knowing they cast Chris Eccleston. It's like, well, even the casting was wrong. Like, he was never going to play a character like that.
Yeah.
So, like, clearly they never intended to do that. I mean, even the original casting, which was Cumberbatch, it's like,
Cumberbatch,
even
wasn't it?
Cumberbatch
Yeah.
wouldn't fit this. So it's like, they never knew what they were doing.
I think it's even like, even if they didn't specifically do this version of Malekith, just a version that like talks and has any personality would have been good. Because like, obviously, for the Dark World, not a lot of people like it, and for good reason.
It's the
Malekith
villain.
just does nothing.
Yeah.
And barely, like, maybe says like 20 words across the course of the film. That
Some of it not in English.
Yeah.
It's just some weird alien language.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool.
that might be generous, and it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I also love his design in the comics, like split
Totally.
face kind of thing and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Very cool. And he's just like a mage using all these cool magic spells. He'd fit really well into like
Now.
modern Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
with
totally.
like Doctor Strange
so
and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's like a line where he mentions Loki, and I was like, is this going to be a thing? Like,
Yeah.
is he
Yeah.
going to be revealed? And it's like, haha, brother, I was this the whole time. But
Yeah. Multiverse, maybe. Maybe we can get a good
Yeah,
Malekith.
we
It's
get a good
unlikely.
one.
I doubt they want to tread that
he'll
ground.
be
again.
played by Matt Smith. They're just like, done, easy.
I mean, that would work. He
it would work
do
for this
it.
one.
Yeah, totally.
His little dance scene in Morbius.
Yeah.
That's basically
But yeah, we have Roxxon
Yep.
get introduced here again. They feature in the previous Thor comics because Asgard is on Earth like it is in the MCU at the moment, and Roxxon kind of makes their own little floating
island,
Asgard.
Weird.
Yeah, run by this guy who is also a Minotaur.
Yep. It's good.
Anyway, they're also like dredging under the sea.
Yeah.
And then they hear disturbances.
Yeah.
Send out their cyborg sharks. Very cool.
So cool.
Joshy has a fun fact here that he gave us. While the closest thing to cyborg sharks are sharks that have been geotagged, not quite the same.
Yeah.
Like programs in Western Australia which track migration patterns and issue warnings when sharks move close to beaches and stuff. Robot sharks are indeed real.
Okay.
Boya Gongdao, I hope I pronounced that right, robot technology unveiled in 2019 their Robo Sharks. They can be used for tracking targets and surveillance and are equipped with stealth features and use the shark's caudal fin as inspiration to increase propulsion efficiency by approximately 80%.
80.
Wow.
So cyborg sharks aren't real, but robot sharks are real and probably in our oceans. Which
Cool.
According to Forbes.com.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Joshy cited his sources
This is
here.
legit.
Jeez, that's nuts.
Well, it's like a lot of those. I've seen
Oh.
there's baits that you can attach and they look like a real fish that
Yeah.
you can just attach to a normal fishing rod. So
Yeah.
it's not far off.
Totally.
It's wild.
Totally. And the other thing to mention about this, Thor kind of comes in, loses his arm,
Yeah, he does.
chopped off by old mate Malekith.
Which I'm waiting for. Like they did the eye in the movie. I feel like they should have done the arm.
Because he looks so cool with like the
Totally.
metal arm when they
Always
comes in
looks great
later.
with it.
Yeah, totally.
I wonder if it would be too close in the MCU to
Yeah.
Winter Soldier, so they just don't want to.
they
Retread it again,
don't
but-
love doubling down on move sets or powers in the MCU.
It's true.
Totally.
But
Anyway, we'll talk about that.
soon.
Probably very soon for us. Not
Yeah,
as soon
not
for
for
you.
you. But also not tonight.
Not tonight at all.
No.
The ice giants show up, the Jotun. Joshy's given us a lot of information about the Jotuns.
They're big.
They're big.
Yeah.
They're big and they're icy. And they hail from
Iceland.
the realm of Utgard.
Oh.
And then Jotunheim.
Okay.
Hang on. The giant. Okay, so I see. Okay, the Jotun are split up. What Josh is telling us here, the Jotun is split up into giants and like frost giants.
Oh,
perhaps.
yes.
So
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like two. Oh yeah, no, it
It's
is 'cause
Assassin's Creed, the Valhalla DLC.
Assassin's Creed and also God of War.
And God of War, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So the original giants, they created the realm of Utgard. And then I think part of that realm is Jotunheim for the frost giants specifically.
Yeah.
I think that's how it goes. That's what I've gathered from reading what Josh has given here, which is a lot of information. But thank you for that. It's
Yeah.
given us a bit more clarity on these ice giants.
Thank
who
you.
proceed to just absolutely decimate this
Just
rock
wreck 'em.
thing.
Yeah.
And they're like very angry and like,
Yeah.
where's a thing? And
Yeah.
no one's saying what the thing is.
No, they're not. It's very vague. And then when you find out the thing, you're like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not, you
And
could have
then-
just told us in
Yeah,
issue one.
totally.
It's like,
Not that
it's fine.
exciting.
And before the issue ends, it just cuts to Jane on the moon.
Well, someone on the
sorry.
moon.
A lady's hand.
Yeah, actually, we don't even see like the rest of the body.
No.
Just a hand picking up a hammer.
Yep.
That no one else has been able to
I think
pick up.
there's like a silhouette or something. Earlier,
Yeah,
isn't there?
yeah.
And just one fact about Malekith.
Silhouettes.
Well,
Yeah.
Malekith, the dark elf, kind of
Yep.
half of him kind
He's
of a silhouette.
kind of a silhouette.
So, you know,
That's a
on-
fact,
On
true.
top of it. Malekith, apparently, like all dark elves, has a vulnerability to iron, which disrupts or cancels his magical spells.
Shit.
I feel like that's
go.
a bad
That's a bad one.
one to be vulnerable. Like
Yeah.
iron, plentiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of that.
Pop a little box of the
Like,
little red iron tablets, throw them at him.
It's like
just-
in our bodies,
Yeah.
right?
Weak to Tony Stark.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah. Well, it's not iron though, is it?
not iron.
It's
I've seen
plain
like
iron.
X-Men, like when Magneto pulls the iron out of the guy.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like
He's weak to humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe he's just grumpy because he can't hug people. Maybe
true.
that's
Gotta be it.
Yeah,
True.
because he gets
Surely.
too close, he
True.
can feel their iron.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So anyway, moving on to issue 2, Thor fucks up some frost giants.
he does.
Yeah, he does.
Well,
She
they do-
does.
Yeah, well, they both do a little bit.
They both do.
Is Thor?
Although they F him up.
That's true.
Well, Malekith does.
Yeah.
No, but that's in issue 1. This is issue 2.
Oh,
in issue
yeah.
2,
She
climbs up-
does, yeah.
So this is going to get
It's very confusing.
this is going to get confusing because they're both Thor.
Yes.
Yeah.
So from this point onwards, we are referring to Jane
As Thor.
As Thor. We are referring to
Thor.
as Odinson.
As Odinson. Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
So Thor, Jane. Again.
Yeah.
Just clarified that.
Yes.
Basically comes down, start getting like her doubled up dialogue
Love that.
between like her inner thoughts, which
Yeah.
are just normal human speak.
Yeah.
And then the like fancy Asgardian
Yeah, what
Totally.
actually comes out of her mouth.
thines and thous. Yeah.
Love it.
Very
Which is very
Shakespearean.
good. And basically she like is like, I'm Thor now. Oh, I can fly. Oh, cool. And does all, it's very fun.
She's like, I've like, how does he do this? And
Yeah.
just
Something like
goes,
this.
I think I've seen him like throw his hammer around in a
Yeah.
circle
Yeah.
and then just throws it into the air.
and it's
Yeah.
It
again,
just works.
Yeah.
it's like that cool tease thing that obviously we know it's Jane, but
Yeah.
like it's a cool kind of like, oh, okay, so it's someone that knows him pretty closely and like knows
Yeah.
Totally.
his techniques and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, she comes down to Earth, notices that everything is frozen.
Yeah.
There's just these huge steps that she's like crawling up.
Yeah.
and Mjolnir like takes her there.
Is guiding
She
her,
can't
yeah.
steer,
Totally.
but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mjolnir knows what to do.
I love the panels where you initially see this like ice castle and you're like, oh, that's cool. And then, you literally see her like stumbling up the steps because
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
made for frost
It's
giants.
huge.
Yeah.
And at the top, all the Avengers are frozen. And it's
cool.
like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe like should have shown us some of that or like
Some of that action. Yeah. It definitely feels like this. If it happened in the film when they can't pay the likeness for anyone, they're
totally.
like, we don't have to pay Sebastian Stan. We're going to see
Totally.
a frozen arm.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
But she makes it to the top and he's greeted by a few frost giants who are big
Yep.
and frosty.
That's true.
Yep.
And they kind of just like make fun of her a little bit.
Yeah. They feel like the Twitter comments when the Thor Love and Thunder trailer
Yeah,
came
totally.
out.
No, it's,
Little girl.
It's 100% that.
Yeah.
The frost giants in this are always like, oh, it's a female Thor. Haha.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
sucks.
Every time.
And then she
Yeah.
kills them.
And she just like decimates them.
Yeah.
I think
So
Dolphin Pants shared a panel a bit lower down.
Yeah. The onomatopoeia in this
that
is
looks great. Yeah, 'cause it's just
It's where she basically
Mjolnir.
Yeah, she lets Mjolnir go, and then Mjolnir just like absolutely spins through all of them and shatters
Love
these
it.
like giant frost giants into a million pieces. It's
Yeah.
so good. The onomatopoeia is great in it.
Yeah.
The use of color, again, Matthew Wilson did a very good job with
they're
color.
they're like paintings.
And like
wonderful.
the combination of Wilson and Dornan in this is like fantastic.
Yeah.
Josh, for listeners, Josh keeps having to scroll down because I scrolled me back too far up. It's quite funny.
Yeah, but just a thing with the color as well. The reason why we're saying another really great job with color was the Black Widow
Yeah.
comic cast that we did.
Stunning.
Is just amazing. Like,
Yeah.
because everything's like very dark, but then all the reds are super poppy.
Yeah.
This is such a cool idea.
And the thing I really love about the use of colors in this comics is already it kind of establishes that Jane's Thor is like the same character but with her own twist, even just through the use of color, because it uses a lot of the similar colors that you see
The
Thor
previous
get in his
runs and
comics.
stuff. Yeah, totally.
However, it's just got like little bits of pinks and slightly poppier like aquas and stuff.
Yeah. Bit more
Whereas Thor's
vibrant.
colors tend to be a bit more muted and stuff.
Totally. Yeah.
Those colors are very like. Generally, I would attribute those to Spider-Gwen.
Yeah, totally.
Your
totally.
aquas and your pinks and stuff.
Totally.
Like peach
Yeah.
and aqua.
Yeah, and it's like immediately like she has this visual identity. Okay, like this is that
bit more
character.
fun.
Yeah, a bit more
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And definitely that's the vibe you get from this
Totally.
character. Just
Yeah.
is like a bit more quippy than regular Thor. It's almost like it's pre-Ragnarok, but it's almost like they saw Thor Ragnarok and like, well, we can't make regular Thor this in the comics. But
Yeah.
we can make
Yeah.
Jane this.
Totally.
But,
We
yeah.
can't change him that much, but we can make someone else that.
Yeah, totally. And Joshy does make the point here. He did give us some general thoughts for this. It was like, why does Jane not think to free any of the frozen
It is. She just walks past them.
frozen
Yeah.
Avengers? Like,
Yeah.
surely, like Mjolnir destroys the frost giants very quickly.
Yeah.
Can't just do a tip tap.
Little tap.
Yeah.
Free Spidey.
Yeah.
No. And she might have killed him. She might shattered him. It's okay.
That's true. She
could've just
she
showed-
doesn't know her power yet.
yeah.
So, but yeah, that's kind of issue 2. It's literally just
Yeah.
her fighting some frost giants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
fun.
it's very cool. It's like a good introduction to what the character is,
Mm-hmm.
to kind of like the little inner dialogue she's got going between herself.
Which I was saying to Josh, like I'm sure it phases out the longer you read the runs and stuff, but it's a really cool, again, a big difference from Thor, and it's
Totally.
it's fun because sometimes, and even like the early Doctor Strange stuff, when he's saying all these dumbass lines, it's like it's cool to have that balance of someone going, just speaking English.
Yeah, totally.
Speaking normally. So
Yeah.
it's a fun balance.
Yeah.
That was one thing that I found really hard back in high school reading Frankenstein.
That's
Mary
right, yeah.
Shelley's Frankenstein.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
The first third and the last third
Yeah.
are very like Shakespearean language, really hard to read. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be really hard to get through. But then the middle part is the wretch, like
Yeah.
Frankenstein's monster talking, and it's just English.
Yeah.
Like it's like it was written today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so easy to read. It's lovely. Yeah.
Cool.
I'll read the French.
We do. I do want to read one of the other Thor facts Josh has given us because there's some fun stuff in here. We do get introduced to Ulik the Troll in this issue.
Yep.
He appears in as like a kind of a guard for Roxxon.
Yep.
They've hired him. I don't know. I can't remember how. I can't remember if it's in an earlier comic, but it might be. But apparently. He is over 1 million years old and was initially created by Stan Lee and over a millennium years old. That's even more, right? Or no, that's less.
No, that's less.
Millennium is less.
Yeah,
Okay.
1,000.
Yeah.
Over a millennium. Okay, you could have just said
Just
1,000.
say 1,000, Joshy. You're confusing us.
Yeah. It was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Big names.
They are big
First
names.
appeared in Thor 137. Trolls have an undeniable hatred of Odin and the Norse gods due to Odin banishing them from the surface ages ago. You know what? I think he is in the League of Realms story. I think he pops up
Cool.
as an adversary
Okay.
in that.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very cool character.
Yeah.
This is the interesting bit. Ulik is one of the main adversaries of Thor, God of Thunder, a 2011 third-person single-player video game based on the film Thor,
Yeah.
developed by Liquid
Right.
Entertainment and co-written by Matt Fraction.
Whoa.
I believe we mentioned this when we did Hawkeye.
yeah.
Matt Fraction
right.
wrote the Thor game.
Bizarre.
So, coming back full circle.
Those games are better versions of the films. From what I've
Yeah.
played of them, they're just, well, maybe not better versions, but more embracing of the comics. There's a lot of weird shit
Well, yeah.
in that and in the first Avenger game. The first Avenger game is nuts. It has a lot of fun with it.
I've said this to quite a lot of people recently. My core issues with those early films, I don't like them as much anymore because now they're embracing the comics more, and I think that's more fun.
Yeah.
So I can imagine the games,
They're just
especially if
weird
Ulik's
shit.
in it. just
Yeah, totally.
No, I remember. I think Chris. Too many Chris's. Captain America.
Evans.
Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I remember hearing that he took the move set from the Captain America game and added that
Nice.
into his
Yeah,
Winter
yeah.
Soldier
Yeah.
onwards sort of fight
so
scenes
cool.
and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And his fight scenes from that point on was a lot
Pretty damn
better.
good.
so
Yeah.
much cooler.
Yeah.
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 Very like gymnastic-y.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So yeah,
There was there's some
video
cool
games
combat in that.
had some sick stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. All right, issue 3. I don't want to make Will lean over here. I was going to say, Will, do you want to read it? But
Roxxon have the skull of Laufey, who Thor tries to stop them, but has hammer issue. Also, Minotaur Man.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's true.
yeah.
All of that happens.
has hammer issue.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically,
Bit of impotence.
yeah.
Yeah.
This one takes place in the Roxxon floating island.
It's the location of Jason Statham's Meg film. It's the underwater thing.
Sure, William.
Yeah.
I'm sure it does.
It just felt like it as soon as we went there. I'm like, oh, this is like Meg.
Yeah. No, wait, the underwater one. This isn't the underwater
Oh,
one.
we're in. Oh,
This is like the one in the sky.
Sky one?
Yeah.
You're 2 issues too late.
I know.
Yeah,
I wanted to make that point ages ago, but we moved on.
Okay, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine.
This one feels like Scarlett Johansson's 2021 film Black Widow.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's very much that.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
No. There's a vault.
There's a vault.
There
made
is?
of adamantium.
I think so.
I think
yeah.
it's adamantium.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing can get
I don't
through.
remember them mentioning it, but
And there's like
Makes sense.
it's stronger than anything.
Yeah.
Even potentially Thor's hammer. And then
And it is.
Roxxon guy is about to turn into a Minotaur, but then doesn't.
Not for this issue.
Runs
Yeah.
into the vault
Yeah.
to like protect the skull. I think.
Yeah.
He kind of just runs in there himself.
Yeah, and just turns it off.
And then
Shuts
closes the door,
yeah.
and it's like, oh, actually no. I was gonna say, what's your plan? But then he does crawl out of like a little hatch later. So
He's
I
got an exit.
worked it out already.
And also, didn't even need to do that.
Yeah.
Apparently, according to the end of this run,
Yeah.
the end of these issues.
Yeah, no, totally.
Why did he even do that?
Yeah.
Do it.
But yeah, Jane, Thor, I'm just going to say Thor. Thor throws the hammer in there.
Yeah.
and then the vault doors close before the hammer comes back, and it just keeps pinging against it, pinging around the room. It's very funny.
Good.
And I like later on we flash back to it, and there's just like it's not made its way through, but there's a dent in the wall where it's kept banging against it. And I think Dario is his name, keeps being like, "Can you just not?"
I almost wish there was more downtime in the Thor films to let the hammer have a character.
Yeah.
There's definitely an idea of it, but it's like there's not enough time for them to spend time with just the hammer.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
I hope we get a bit now.
Well, this movie's only an hour. I think it's an hour 50.
Really?
So, yeah, that's the current. So I don't think we're going to have time for
Probably
hammer
not.
downtime.
It's all, they could almost do it like a certain rock scene.
Yeah.
A certain rock scene in a film. Anyway, I think this is mostly just Jane like shit talking the frost giants outside the vault
Yeah.
while Dario's inside the vault.
Talking to
Then Malekith appears and shimmers into the vault.
Yeah.
And Dario's like, "Oh no, is that adamantium?" And he's like, I'm a mage.
magic man."
I do magic and shit.
Yeah.
Wasn't iron.
Yeah. It's fun.
Should have made an iron door.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
I wonder if that happens later. I wonder if to keep him out. I've got the skull. I'll just make an iron door.
Yeah.
It's not even a strong door.
No.
Like someone could punch it open, but it's like he just can't deal with this.
can't.
Totally. And then eventually Jane gets in, smashes the skull, and then Malekith is like, "Bad idea."
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure this is the inciting reason for the War of the Realms, which is a comic book event that happens like
And ages away.
4 years down the line.
Yeah, like
right.
a few years ago.
Because it definitely is spoken like
Malekith
that,
is
yeah.
like, well, they definitely start leading up to it in earlier Jason Aaron stuff, but this is like, it's reading it now. I'm very much like, yeah, I think this is them alluding to like we're building towards this, and this was a bad idea to just destroy a sacred frost giant item. So anyways, it's like a relatively minor moment that probably a lot of people would have read. But
it'll sprinkle out.
Pretty important.
Yeah. So if you see anyone break heads in Thor: Love and Thunder, it's them alluding to War of the Realms down the line.
Yeah.
If
Good
you
luck
see
with-
any head break,
Good luck with that, Kevin.
Yeah, jeez.
sprinkle ahead.
Anyway, Jane breaks in, and then right at the end we have the tease of, I think, Thor appearing and being like,
Yo, that's mine,
yeah,
Buster.
yeah.
Yeah. They have like a bit of a Thor fight.
Bit of
Yeah.
a Thor fight,
Yeah.
which is the issue Thor.
Issue Thor.
Oh,
It's
is it
a
Thor?
fight.
Right.
I mean,
They don't
Gotcha.
Thor fight in issue 3.
they don't Thor fight.
My bad.
No Thor fighting.
Jump too far.
Yeah.
So Thor fight in issue Thor.
In issue Thor.
Thor versus Thor.
Thor versus Thor.
I
Thor fight.
wrote Thor versus Thor until they get over it and kiss. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's actually 100% what happens.
That's what happens.
Much.
Thor might have smashed the skull of Elfie in this issue. I don't know. I think I actually wrote these afterwards, so I was trying to remember what happened. So even this could be inaccurate.
Yeah.
But basically, I mean, they kind of blend into each other, these issues. It's a good, like, contained 4-issue story.
Thor issues, yeah.
Yep, Thor issues. The Thors have a cool fight for a little bit.
Yep.
Thor has his new arm provided by Screwbeard.
Not Eitri.
No, not Eitri.
Yeah.
From Nidavellir, which in the comics is actually just like a mountain.
town, yeah.
like a cute little mountain.
Yeah.
Screwbeard was also part of that League of Realms.
Yeah.
Which when they were all hunting down Malekith and stuff.
Sure.
He gives Thor a cool metal arm, which Thor keeps for quite a long time after this. Maybe even still in the current comics. I don't even know if it's...
Well, he wears a lot of chainmail. So
he wears a lot of chainmail now. So, and then they fight, and then they kiss.
Yeah.
And
he's like, actually, you know what? You're pretty good.
Yeah.
You deserve it more than me. I'm sad boy. I'm real sad.
Yeah.
And it's Thor that kisses Odinson, right? He's just sort of standing there, and then Thor just jumps in.
Yeah. Sorry, I might have said Thor when I was referring to Odinson sometimes. Again,
right.
Thor versus Thor.
Yeah.
And Odinson's kind of like, who are you? Like, I seem to recognize you. And
I thought you were my mum.
that's when the kiss happens, and then he says something like that.
They literally do joke about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe you're not my mum.
Yeah. Oh, because
Hopefully.
his mum's gone missing as well.
Yeah,
That's the other thing we didn't mention. But across this, his mum's gone missing somewhere, and that's why they think it could be her.
It could be a Freya. Yeah.
But yeah, that's
That's kind of it. And then it turns out Roxxon Minotaur Man didn't have the real skull in there. he had another.
So the one he shattered wasn't
the real one. Yeah.
So it wasn't actually the inciting moment, but could have been.
Could have been
right.
if it was it.
Yeah. I definitely paid attention to that little bit of text, and Will is not reminding me about it now at all.
Yeah. It's a good little run, and it like gives you a good context of her character comparative to Thor. It's also more so the next podcast that we're not recording tonight and this one. It feels like it's the MCU we're at now, where everything's just a bit more fun. Like there's a lot more going on. Like just the idea of a Roxanne having a fucking thing in space and underwater. It's like, oh yeah, in the current state of the MCU right now, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Like, Roxanne built up over the blip kind of thing, and they experimented
The thing
with
I
just going out
think
and doing
I've said
whatever
to
they
you
want.
guys, but I've been saying to some other people as well recently, where I like that they're just like accepting that crazy shit happens in the MCU now, and not like having to explain it all and have every character be motivated by like
Tony Stark.
Like it's cool they keep bringing back like the blip and stuff and be like, oh yeah, like that had an effect, but it doesn't need to always be like, I remember that time Moon Knight made the sky go like this. It doesn't matter.
Who gives a fuck? It's fine.
So-
It's like She-Hulk's trailer was the one that I'm like, this is a big green woman. No one gives a shit.
Yeah,
it's fine.
totally.
It's just what's happening.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's like in Doctor Strange, this isn't really a spoiler. It happens in like the first 2 minutes of the movie. Doctor Strange like jumps off a balcony and someone just pulls his phone out.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Wow.
that's
Another
what.
day.
People are used to this.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I totally agree. It's kind of like weird shit is just happening. Cyborg sharks are happening.
The Asgard is in Scotland.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Well,
a thing that never existed before, like a mythical society, is now in Scotland.
Yeah. Well, because that thing in the MCU is very much from this particular. I mean, it happens earlier in the Thor
It's like
continuity,
in Mexico and stuff.
but that like, it's in Oklahoma. Is it Oklahoma or I think it's Oklahoma.
Oklahoma,
it's Oklahoma. I was gonna say Oakland. Oakland is a very different area, but yeah, no, it's in Oklahoma. It's very obscure. Whereas in the MCU, it's in Iceland or Scotland or whatever, which actually makes a bit more sense.
Yeah, a bit more Nordic.
But yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I like this introduction to the character. I definitely, it's kind of cool going back and reading it and thinking about like what the mystery would have been.
It
would have almost been even cooler to read it at the time with the mystery, but it's like it still holds up.
It's still not clear. If you don't know, you don't know. And
Totally.
you're not finding out here.
Yeah.
Totally. And it's kind of like, it still very much holds up, and I read it now even knowing who the character is and be like, yeah, no, this is like an interesting way to tease it out.
Yeah, totally.
And it's only 8 issues, so it's like... This is probably the first one of these where I will continue reading the rest of this series just to smash it out. And
I've read it before, but I'm going to reread through it because I want to pick up Mighty Thor.
Thor.
Yeah. Well, Joshy has a big message here for our viewer comments, which I need to make sure I include all the Thors in.
Yeah.
So
Make sure you do it.
Point out
I will.
me
If you miss them.
if I miss a Thor.
Yeah.
all right, here
Josh
we go.
is dreading this. This new Thor needed to be equally as impressive as the now unworthy Odinson to keep the existent fan base on board. And in these 4 issues, they are victorious at creating... In these Thor issues, they are victorious at creating a Thor equally mighty in power, but equally dull, tedious, and lethargic in personality as Odinson of past comic runs.
Okay.
Thor's dichotomy, dichotomy, great word.
Good word.
Should be between her god and non-god life. Instead, the writing drills into the shades of similarity between the mantle holders of the Thor title. Marvel's solo titles thrive when readers invest in a main character's personality and personal lives, so you want them to triumph every issue, irrespective of who the villain is. That is true. That's a good point. 2014 was gearing up to the all-new, all-different Marvel rebranding and gave us Kamala Khan's Ms. Marvel run, Sam Wilson's Captain America, and a new Miles Morales comic. All characters assuming mantles previously held by iconic characters. Yep. Well, I was going to say not Ms. Marvel, but no, it is.
Yeah.
That's the start of Ms. Marvel.
Because I think officially, I found this out today for not a comic podcast we're recording. That's actually called Volume 3.
Yeah,
of
it
Ms. Marvel.
just continues.
Okay.
Ms. Marvel comic.
That's cool.
Which is
I didn't know that
interesting.
either.
Yeah. Having distinctive personalities and personal lives full of challenges within lived-in worlds, they flourished. These Thor issues that need to be establishing why we should care about this new protagonist instead push what should be the central character side to the B and sometimes C plot. That's true. In favor of a rinse-repeat short-term plot, hoping the intrigue of the identity reveal will carry the reader to subsequent issues. you're left with a disinteresting enigma for Thor that feels completely isolated from her own book. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Don't agree, but I can see it.
Yeah.
As usual, we don't agree with Josh. But he makes good points.
Yeah.
Thor is also left making choices between because the narrative needs her to. There is no explanation for how Mjolnir's new wielder landed on the moon pre-Hammer time. Thor doesn't think to there is a little bit of explanation. It's to do with the bloody Nick Fury with
The Watcher shit.
the Watch.
No.
And it's the white Nick Fury as well. It's like the bad one.
Yeah.
Thor doesn't even think to try unfreezing anybody, which we mentioned from the ice, to assist or provide intel, and is mysterious about their identity for unapparent reasons. At this point, where the narrative displays the strength of a mystical hammer wielder is in setting up the longer arc for the book, establishing Malekith the Accursed as an ongoing antagonist with a varied arsenal of magical tools and whispered deceptions to achieve goals, and in setting up little moments that mean nothing now, but on repeat reads will likely produce a ringing smack like a hammer striking an anvil in the reader's heart, full of emotional resonance in moments previously quiet.
Joshy.
That is a
Jeez, man.
brilliant sentence. When Thor starts reverting back to her civilian identity after being separated from Mjolnir by an impenetrable door, for too long, the first-time reader believes she needs the strength to repel the frost giant. But a reader with the power of hindsight knows Thor's desperation for Mjolnir is to repel an internal ailment instead. It's true. Additionally, in number 4, page 13 and 14, on a double splash page, there's a handful of internal thought boxes from Odinson that I imagine will be mirrored by the new Thor in a later issue. With every rumble of thunder, with every roaring of the hammer's song, I die a little more inside, and the more I die, the harder I swing. It's interesting because I think it might come back.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good writing.
Again, we won't go too much into what happens to the character there because one, it might be in the movie. 2, it's in the next.
The rest of the
if you
comics.
continue on, if you want to read it. Malekith and Roxxon's Dario Aga are clear villains, but the most heinous villain is lauded in the thunderous light of heroes, Odin. An authoritative white man in a position of hierarchical power with old-fashioned attitudes that devalue women and project toxic masculinity and ableist attitudes at his son. He does all of them.
Big old douche.
with a propensity to ignore the plight of those less fortunate. No real-world parables present there. Freya shows the characteristics of a fair and just ruler filled with radiating internal strength born from core values of caring and compassion, not merely through words, but through actions like leading Asgard's warriors against Jotun.
Yeah.
Totally. I will say, definitely, if anyone wants to go read the previous run that Jason Aaron did before this, Freya is a very good character throughout all of it. Definitely feels like they were like, we don't want her to just be Odin's wife, and made her like a badass woman, which is cool. While Aaron's writing is variable, interesting. Dordeman and Wilson are superb in their illustrations and coloring. Yes, they are. With how they get pinks and blues, as we mentioned.
It is.
Pay them.
Yep, totally.
Kevin.
Yeah, Kev.
Pay all these people. People we'll talk about maybe later to complement each other and make lightning sizzle. Hair, water, and magic distinctly flow. The panel layout thrown off kilter in action panels as though dislodged is supremely effective. I think Joshy mentioned in his comments earlier, a lot of rhombus panels and like weird shapes and stuff.
Yeah.
The sound effects are striking, though difficult to read occasionally. Yeah, the onomatopoeia does get messy sometimes. Although I think it's intentional.
I like
shaped. Because she's like learning her powers. So the onomatopoeia is like messy because she's not quite sure yet.
Totally.
Yeah.
A good story, impeccably illustrated and coloured, but a poor opening arc for a character taking on a new mantle. I rate Thor 2014 1 to Thor, 1 Thor, and a 7 arm out of 2 Thors.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So that's like 1 and
1 out of 3.
1 and 1.1 out of 2.
Yeah.
I'm thinking how much a 7 arm.
Yeah, it's not
maybe like 1.17 or something.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Glad we worked that one out.
Yeah.
I will say, Joshy, there was a slightly later comment in the Discord, and he was like, I've read the rest of the run, and most of my problems are fixed.
Nice. Amazing. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So a lot of the stuff we just talked about, he was like, they followed it up pretty well.
Good.
That's good.
And okay, we got a little bit more to get through. I'll smash through these comments as quick as I can. Jade Jade has also written a bunch of stuff for us, which is very cool. She says, here are my thoughts on Thor, the Goddess of Thunder, which collects Thor 2014, number 1 to 5. Because the collected one is 1 to 5.
That's what they own. Very
cool.
good.
Yeah.
Very
1 to
good.
5.
1 to 5.
I happen to already own a copy of this volume! Exclamation mark.
Nice.
I bought it after a conversation with a comic-loving friend after he was talking about how a new mysterious character is not Lady Thor, but actually Thor. It's true.
Yeah.
I did say Lady Thor at the start, but they very much make a thing in the comic
Totally.
that it's Thor.
It's Thor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's just an easy distinction
Oh, totally.
to refer to her
Totally.
as Lady
Yep.
Thor.
Yeah.
Comments on Malekith. Oh, no, actually, sorry, just before that, I do like the joke in there when it's like Thorita. Yeah. So
It's Spidey, right? Spidey coming up with names.
Yeah, Spidey's quipping all of them.
And I'm surprised Joshy didn't mention it because he does hate when a Spidey is more intensely funny in like anything that's not a Spider-Man comic. Whenever he shows up somewhere, he's just there to be annoying.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're never usually like this, man.
Yeah.
You have a bit more depth than just making quips.
Yeah, but
He's
very
so
funny.
he's so silly and everything.
Yeah. Sure.
It's great.
So Jade has some comments on Malekith. There's always a chance with comics or any media with gore that I may not be able to enjoy it. Fortunately for me, there is an undercurrent of dark humor with Malekith that works well for me. For example, right at the start, we can see 3 Roxxon employees watching their colleagues being reduced to bloody slush by frost giants. At that point, Malekith steps in, asks a vague question, and then does unpleasant magical things to 2. Unpleasant magical things makes
It sounds like a bad place, but a good place at the same
2
time.
of the employees for not immediately answering to Malekith's satisfaction. The 3rd terrified employee tries to be as helpful as possible despite the undercurrent of malice from Malekith.
I adore it. That was a great bit.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
This is a quote from Malekith. Just please don't what? Turn your eyes into red hot ingots? Change your tongue into a flesh-eating eel? Why, the thought hadn't crossed my mind. So good. Even Malekith's mercy is unkind. He says, I see you found what I was searching for. Well done. Breathe easy now, friend. I mean you no further harm. He says to the employee who is currently in the process of drowning. Basically, Malekith steals every scene he's in. What a contrast to his MCU appearance.
Yeah.
Okay, I get why you all hate on the second Loki film now. Sorry, I mean second Thor film. Good.
Fair, very
good.
fair.
And then comments on mysterious new Thor. Thor's appearance raises a couple of questions. Who is she? I know this question is less of a mystery for the new Thor movie, but I'm sure at the time the comic was first published, this was an interesting thing to investigate. Indeed. How did she get to the moon? I can't remember if it gets cleared up as well. I think it could just be left ambiguous, but not certain. And then 3, does the juxtaposition of Thor's thoughts and Thor's spoken words suggest that Thor, or maybe Mjolnir, is a separate personality / Mark Spector?
Yeah.
Mark Spector.
Yeah.
And Jake Lockley
Sneaky.
and Stephen Grant. Oi,
That's
governor.
Perfect. So British, Ben.
Yeah, I know.
He's so good at it.
Oi, governor. It got worse the second time.
It did, yeah. The first time was enough.
Yeah.
Because she reused the audio bite from the first time.
Yeah.
Jade has also some comments on representation. Speaking as a girl, the girl power vibes at the start of number 5 were right on the edge of cringe for me. We didn't read number 5.
Wouldn't know.
But, yeah.
Wouldn't know.
But I suppose it has some value. I personally felt that Odinson accepting Thor as Thor and not calling her Thorita, etc. in number 4 was more affirming for me than the conversation during the fight at the start of 5, which some of you might have read. I know there are people who get their pants in a twist when a character is introduced for a prominent role and that character is not a cis white male. Without going into a rant, I actually like this kind of affirmative action in comics. Personally feel so seen when a character has even a sliver of qualities that I share, and the old stories still exist if you want to read them. That's 100% always the case with this kind of thing. It's like, if you feel bad that like a character you identified with is like changing into something that's not as similar to you, as a white man especially, there's so much content for you to go back and consume.
At least 70 years.
And I can guarantee you haven't read all of it.
No, it's Doctor Who as well.
Yeah,
it's like when
totally.
Jodie came in. It's like, you watched the other 55 years of Doctor Who? It's fine.
You got plenty.
Yeah.
I'm starting to diverge wildly off topic, but I'm delighted that we are getting to a point where I can actually say whether or not I enjoy a comic with representation without the guilt of betrayal if I actually hate it. Having more stories to choose from is great. When I was a kid, my bar was so low I used to be grateful if a person with my background appeared as a terrorist or as an exotic love interest. Now we have superheroes. The future is now. 5 fingers on a 7th Thor limb out of 5.
Good.
Nice.
That's good. That's a more clear number. We don't have to...
Yeah.
don't have to work that one out.
Extrapolate.
Yeah.
Dolphin Pants is next up, and Dolphin Pants says, just at the start. Oh, you actually did the audio recording? Oh, hey, at Argon, this was in the Discord.
Yeah.
If you read my comments after Joshy, can you say that I also sent an audio recording and just play this, then actually read my thoughts? Thanks.
Yeah. So this is Dolphin.
Yeah. It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, they are one of those species, dolphin pants, where it's like the closer you get to them, the worse they are. I like watching you jump through waves, but I don't want to meet you. Dolphin pants.
I have fed dolphin pants.
Yeah.
Yeah. and dolphin.
Wait, you fed a dolphin pants?
No, I've fed dolphins, and I don't actually remember that noise. Probably because I pushed it far out of my brain because it's terrifying.
Yeah,
It is weird.
But they are actually very lovely up close.
Oh, good.
I will say, and also not at all relevant to this, but I have to bring it up. We had our Australian election on the weekend, obviously, and a guy that got elected in one of the Western Australian seats for Labor.
Yeah.
There's a wonderful interview without him. He was, I can't remember, he was born somewhere in Asia and migrated to Australia. But before that, I think it was Malaysia maybe, but I could be wrong. Anyway, before he migrated and stuff, he spent 10 years as a dolphin trainer. And maybe not 10 years as a dolphin trainer. Spent a bunch of years as a dolphin trainer.
Yeah.
It's like best job I ever had.
Yeah.
Dolphins are so lovely and genuine.
Amazing.
And also it was like, what was the other thing? And can also speak 10 languages or something. And I'm like, I am
Dolphins
so glad.
can?
No, he can.
All right.
Yeah. But I was like,
That's what I thought too.
but I was like, well, I'm glad this guy is in Parliament.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a shame that he's going to have to deal with humans now, though.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
comparatively. Like, you know,
Totally.
Politicians.
Yeah.
well, they're not humans.
Being
Yeah.
not. Yeah, fair.
If you can find the issue out, if you can find the video out there somewhere, just Google like dolphin trainer Parliament election Australia or something like that. And
I think that'll narrow it down.
Yeah.
You'll get there.
But yeah, no, it's really good.
Good.
Dolphins, very nice, but terrifying noises.
It's very scary noises.
Yeah. Anyway,
Let's hear what the dolphin said.
yeah, this was what was said.
It's Steve Dicto.
Yeah. This is what was said. This is our translation.
Yeah. Google Translate. Yeah.
Thor comics really resonate with me. Wow, so eloquent for a dolphin.
Very
Nice.
That's the
Wow.
point. Yeah.
I was up to date with the current run until I hit a comic wall in November, so I'm out of the loop.
No.
I think I'm also around, like, I think I hit a wall around then as well, so I don't think I'm that caught up with the current run. Anyway, going back to Dolphin Pants, but I really enjoy Thor and the universe around him, so this is very exciting for me. Then we have some just assorted notes.
Yep.
Appreciate that at the start they give the summary of why we have a new Thor. Save me the research. That is true. Thor Odinson, after losing Jonathan, is heartbreaking. You can see this was the basis of Thor in Endgame.
Yeah.
It took me a second to work out what the hell
Very
Jonathan
good.
was. That's
Were we
amazing.
talking about the guy in the shorts? No, the guy in the like one shot things they did. Is that Jonathan?
No, Jonathan's the name of the hammer, according to Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a deep
Yeah.
cut. I definitely remember that from somewhere, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like that went.
It's one interview.
that
it's
was a
it's
hammer
real
that
far,
flew
yeah.
over my head.
It's fair.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah. Malekith is so damn cool in this. Maybe I need to rewatch Thor 2, but damn, he was underutilized. Don't rewatch Thor 2. No. Eccleston could have for sure pulled it off.
I don't think he could.
Yeah. As Will said, I think Matt Smith is your kind of guy to go to for that.
Totally.
Chris
Just someone
Ferguson's a
fun.
bit more of like a brooding kind of person.
Yeah.
Again,
He could be Gore.
yeah. But
He's not.
he's not.
Yeah.
And as much as I love the scene where Mystery Woman first becomes Thor, I just need it to be implied in the film. We don't need the flashback. The adding of the S on Jonathan. The adding of the S on Jonathan as Mystery Woman lifts it is a great touch. Okay, so what he's saying there is the adding of S to
It's the hammer.
if mighty power of Thor. Wait,
Thor's?
Where's the S? Yeah, no,
Oh,
but it
does that
doesn't-
happen?
Does that? Yeah, I don't remember it happening. Maybe it does.
I got it.
Josh will do it. I'll keep going.
Yeah.
Issue 2, it's at the end of issue 1, I think, by the way.
Okay.
Issue 2 is my favorite of the 4. Just a shout out to page 10 of the second issue. It's fantastic. That's the one we talked about earlier with the hammer shattering.
Bing, bong, bing, bong, bing.
And in that one, the onomatopoeia is messy, but very
It's good.
purposely.
It's cool. Yeah.
I think I remember specifically looking really close at this because I was trying to work out what the onomatopoeia said. Because I love Thor onomatopoeia.
Yeah,
I actually want to get a tattoo of one of his ones, which is Crackadoo,
Crackadoo,
on my
yeah,
arm at
yeah.
some point. I think it'd be very cool.
Surely that's Thum.
But no. This one has like has some cracks and some dooms and
Yeah,
some flames
cool.
in there. It's like a bit of all the Thor ones, so it's very cool. And then at the end, there's a big crash when all the ice comes down.
Yeah.
Very cool. More thoughts from Dolphin Pants. Thor, mystery woman, is just so damn badass, like destroying the frost giant from the inside and saying his kids are better off without him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. She like Thanos up the butt.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
We'll come back to that.
Yep. Portman is going to rock Mystery Woman Thor. That's
Absolutely.
true. The CEO of Roxxon turning into a Minotaur is a fantastic representation of Thor comics, mythical blended into reality. It's like how Zuck is a snake man.
What a phrase.
Good.
Oh, so good. Did you find it?
I did, yeah. So on the hammer, it says whoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor.
Oh,
And
sick.
it adds
That's a
a
she.
little S.
Oh,
That's what
Which is
right.
sick.
Yeah,
I
totally.
didn't even notice that the first time.
Very
Good little
cool.
detail.
But that's sick.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Very cool.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
I
Thanks,
was
Freya.
expecting to see it at the end of like Thor's.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
thought, but then I was
yeah.
like, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had the power of Thor's.
Yeah.
Multiple.
Weird.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, no, that's
I
very
like that.
cool.
Very nice.
That's clearly like the tease that everyone would have gotten that we skipped over because we knew it was a woman.
Yeah, we
yeah.
didn't need to know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
Sick.
Issues 4 cover is so simple yet so good. It is good. I'll put it up here.
Is that issue 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good cover.
So good.
I feel like I have that one.
It's the Thors in issue
Yeah,
4.
in issue
Yeah.
Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
Very
good.
cool.
Thor, Thove and Thunder.
I freaking love their logo too.
Yeah.
Like having Mjolnir
Yeah.
be like the crossbar of the H and the O. At the
Yeah,
same
well, that's
time.
the new one. That's specifically her
Yeah.
Thor logo.
Yeah, because through it, like in the intro sort of description and stuff, sometimes like they'll say the mighty Thor has this, and it's like the old school Thor logo, and then it's like, but then Thor, and it's her new
Yeah,
logo.
and even when
Yeah.
they've gone back to
Sick.
Odinson as Thor in the
Yeah,
new
yeah.
run, it's back to that original like
Yeah,
style
cool.
Thor logo. So yeah, that's the specific. I like it. The specifically like that's hers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
So
it's a cool little just like
clever.
it's like nice that they're at least like using that to distinguish them for sure. They are setting up the red herring of Frigga being Thor, which is nice, totally. And having Thor pass the mantle is nice, and it makes it harder for Marvel comic gatekeepers to complain about female Thor. I'll still do it.
Yeah.
I do think it would have been the perfect point for a character reveal. This is true. It would have been a pretty good point. But I like, from what I remember, I like the way they wrap it up.
Yeah, cool.
Overall, I loved it. The characters are so well written, and it encompasses why I love the Thor comics. The mixture of mythology and reality that can still exist in the larger Marvel universe. I'm reading the remaining issues of this for sure. I give
For Thor.
no.
No.
I give this 5 Jonathans out of 5.
Very good.
Good.
Awesome. And a final man that he always
Yeah.
keeps it brief.
Yeah.
Love it.
This final one is from Dion. Dion says, my review of Thor 2013, number 1 to Thor.
Nice.
I read it. I read it.
I mean, English is very difficult.
Yeah. I read it. I enjoyed it. And there were cyborg sharks.
Hell yeah.
I would give it 3 out of Thor limbs.
Good. Very good.
Yeah.
That's
So
a solid
good.
rating as well.
That is
Pretty high.
Yeah. I think we had 2 5 out of 5s. We had a 3 out of Thor. And then we had a 1.17. One
Yeah.
and a 7 arm
Out of 2.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
you know.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, quick ratings from us. I guess we
man.
gotta do them.
Someone else first.
The act in which Natalie Portman arrives in Thor: Love and Thunder out of 3. We don't know yet.
Probably 3 acts.
Yeah.
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 I'm gonna say one fake crushed skull of Laufey out of 1.
There's only one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
good. That's good too.
1 she out of he.
That's good. That's
pretty
good.
good.
Yeah, smashed it.
that's pretty good.
Smashed it.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
That's Thor 2013, number 1 to Thor.
Yeah.
Main comic cast. Hope you all enjoyed.
That was good. I really enjoyed this comic.
Yeah, it's a really good comic. As I've said multiple times already, and will continue to say, the Thor from like basically Jason Aaron onwards, all the Thor comics since then have basically been fantastic. There's a few
Yeah.
misses in and around the place of like not the greatest issues, but overall, It's like
pretty dang cool.
They've been very good with the storytelling for this character.
Yeah.
Better than they did in some of those early movies.
Yeah.
But we're good now.
We're good now.
Yes.
We're good now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Taika.
Thank you, Taika. Thank you
be
so
nuts.
much. It's going to be so good. We will be revisiting Thor
We will.
a bit closer to Love and Thunder because obviously Lady Thor is part of that. Jane Foster, Natalie Portman will be in that movie. But we'll be doing another Thor comic in the month of July.
But the movie comes out.
Yeah, when the movie comes out.
Yeah.
It's currently May.
It is.
So we have an in-between month to get in there.
It's true. What's happening in June?
In
What
June.
is happening in June?
Miss Marvel? Maybe some character like
maybe.
that?
Yeah.
Another Marvel thing. Who would have thought?
Marvel, yeah.
Who would have
It's
thought?
crazy. Who would have thought Marvel's putting out lots of things? Lots of things. They're putting out.
The bins and lots of content.
Yeah.
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 Nailed
They
it.
probably put out
Nailed
the
it.
bins.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're going to come at me with a nailed it in terms of a big list?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fine. Take us out, Ben.
Anyway,
what are we reading from-
what are we reading next
Yeah.
month? So next month, over the entire month of June or whenever the heck you want to read it,
Yeah. Yeah, whenever.
we're reading
Over the hell with one L.
Magnificent Miss Marvel. This is a 2019 comic because these guys have already done a comic
did.
book
We did the
before the
original.
comic cast existed. This is like
Yes.
pre-comic cast when I wasn't on it.
Yeah, it was Comic Cast. It wasn't Comic Cast.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like a Comic Cast, not the comic.
Yeah. They did the original Miss Marvel run.
Yep.
Yes.
Which is probably more what the show is going to be based on. But because they've done that, I was like, let's jump into one of the newer ones. They picked it up with like a new creative team in 2019. So doing issues 1 to 5 of that. So leave all your comments in the Discord.
And we will look
We will
at them.
definitely look at them.
We'll definitely look at them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But you can go back and listen to the previous
Yes.
one as well to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
prepared for the show.
Totally.
But we're doing another one.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
get in on that.
Yeah. Get in on it. Joshy, give us your recordings.
Yeah, please, at least like an hour worth of recording because
Yeah.
we won't have much
And
to
in
say.
advance.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
advance, please.
Very early.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
Like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye.
I've really got to poo.